Popcorn is one of the oldest and most iconic snack foods around. It's also, coincidentally, one of my greatest vices, alongside a debilitating martyr complex and an unhealthy obsession with Paddington 2. I can't begin to tell you the number of times that I have overindulged on popcorn, many times to the point of nausea, once to the point of moderate renal failure. But I'm here to ask the tough questions about popcorn. Where does it come from? How does it get made? If I eat a handful of kernels and lay out in the sun, will they pop in my stomach? We're about to find out. So keep your ears open, because we're about to get corny. Honestly, who writes this? The popcorn we know comes from a specific type of corn called Zea mays verta, a type of flint corn with a tough outer casing that's essential to making popcorn. The kernels of Zea mays verta contain a small amount of moisture that when heated turns to steam. This steam acts like a pressure cooker inside the kernel, gelatinizing the small amount of starch inside. As the pressure continues to build, the kernel breaks open, and that liquid starch solidifies into fluffy popcorn. Although there's a lot of science behind making popcorn, it's not rocket science, and people learned how to do it thousands of years ago. The earliest evidence of popcorn was found in the Bat Cave of New Mexico. Not that Bat Cave. Yep, that's the one. And is dated as far back as 3600 BC. Popcorn is older than sliced bread and Jesus. Although there's evidence of popcorn being spread all across the Americas, it was especially important to the Aztecs. It was not only used culturally, usually for religious ornamentation, but it's also theorized that the planting of Zea mays verta was essential to the growth and expansion of the Aztec Empire. Now let's fast forward to the times of imperialism. What? Did you say that we've never left an age of imperialism, that it is morphed throughout time and continues to this day as a more covert yet still oppressive force that
manipulates the trajectory of history, driving us further and further towards certain and mutually assured destruction?
Some people say there was popcorn at the first Thanksgiving. Actually, there's no evidence to support this, as there's no documentation to suggest that popcorn was ever planted in the Atlantic regions at this time. The first Europeans to encounter popcorn were the Spanish conquistadors, and when it finally did make its way to the American colonies, it was usually eaten in a bowl of heavy cream, which is exactly how a sexually repressed Puritan would eat popcorn. The first commercial sale of popcorn happened in the 1820s, although at the time it was usually referred to as pearls or non-paris. Popcorn wouldn't get its official moniker until 1848, thanks to John Russell Bartlett's Dictionary of Americanisms. According to Bartlett, the name came from, quote, the sound it makes when it bursts open. That definitely checks out. In 1893, John Creeders unveiled the world's first popcorn-making machine at Chicago's World Columbian Exhibition, where Cracker Jacks, another treat in the popcorn family, was unveiled the same year. Creeders' contraption ran on gasoline and weighed roughly 500 pounds, my kind of machine, and made popcorn far more accessible to the general public. Soon, popcorn was able to be sold at picnics, fairs, carnivals, funerals, anywhere where people are having a great time. The one place you wouldn't find it, however, was at the movies. Brought to you by sitting down in the shower. Sometimes it's just one of those days. During the heyday of movie palaces, theater owners wanted to appeal to a highbrow clientele, decorating their venues with all sorts of art and architecture from Baroque to Egyptian Revival. The last thing they wanted was popcorn kernels being ground into the carpet or loud crunching during the exhibition of a silent film. It wasn't until the Great Depression hit, not the one you're having right now watching this video, the one with all the bread lines and whatnot, that movie theaters actually embraced popcorn. It was one of the only items on the market that actually got a boost during the Great Depression. It ran about 5 to 10 cents a bag and was one of the only indulgences that money-strapped families were actually able to afford. During World War II, popcorn sales continued to rise. Because of sugar rations, sweet treats like candy weren't available, so people turned to popcorn for their snack of choice. Popcorn sales grew threefold during the years that the US was involved in the war. After World War II and the rise of television, fewer people went to the movies, and because movie sales and popcorn sales had become so intertwined over the previous few decades, popcorn also felt the heat. However, popcorn got right back on the saddle again with the introduction of the microwave, with the first microwave popcorn being introduced in the early 1980s. Today, the popcorn umbrella continues to grow, with new varieties of popcorn hitting shelves on regular intervals. From healthy popcorn to gourmet dessert popcorn, seems like there's a popcorn for every season. This is probably why popcorn sales have steadily grown over the past few years, and will probably continue to do so in the future. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Thanks so much for suffering through this video. If you liked it, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and if you didn't, come on, man. I really need this right now, okay? Alright, well, have a good one. Okay, I'm done with that.